Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I'm your host today, Mark, and my co-host, Britsburgh, Owen. What's going on, mate? Nice and sunny over there in England, it seems. Is that right?
It's not, it's a bit overcast, but it's morning. That's why it's bright here, mate. It's morning.
Hi. Yeah. I tell you what, I got a quick story for you, but before we
Oh,
go into the podcast, because I was absolutely scared out of my lights today. But
right.
I don't know about you, but when I watch American football, being overseas, an international guy, and like yourself, I just count my Monday because I watch it on Monday as a write off. It's done. Like
Yeah.
I had to sleep today from 2 to 8 because I woke up at 5 a.m. to do all the content
Mm.
to watch the team. Are you the same? Like I know it's like you watch yours later on, but I don't know. Maybe it's a me thing because I'm just done. My whole day's screwed up.
It's not so bad for me when the game's 1 o'clock kickoff because that's 6 o'clock my time, so that's 6 till 9, and then I
Right.
can get like a normal night's sleep. But if it's a prime time game or it's a game in that middle slot, that weird middle slot between the 1 o'clocks and the prime time, then yeah, that pretty just screwed my day up. I mean, I remember the Sunday night football game against the Dolphins. I was still up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I think finally got a couple of hours
Yeah,
sleep, and
that's
then
right. That's right.
right, but yeah, pretty much Monday is a write off in that case because you've had 2 hours sleep. You're just trying to like survive the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's not normal to a sense where we live in the States, Pittsburgh, or we live on the West Coast, wherever it may be, and
Mm.
we would watch the game because I saw a few Facebook comments, and then of course it's Facebook and Twitter, but they were complaining about getting up at 5:30 a.m. to watch the Bucks game, and I was like, "Are you serious? I've been doing this for 20 years. Like dead set, I've been waking up since for 3 a.m. for so long. You can handle one game out of your life, right?"
Yeah.
But before we start the podcast, and today, guys, stick around. We will be going through, and you guys can play along at home too. We will be going through the rest of the schedule. Because I thought, what better way than after a big victory than to try and figure out if the Steelers can run the table. Now, when I say run the table, of course, winning every single game would be fantastic. But I'm saying run the table to get themselves in a position to go to the playoffs is just as good anyway.
Yeah.
But Owen, I teased this story to you offline, and do you want to hear what happened to me today about And if you guys aren't a fan of big spiders, then click off and come back in 2 minutes. Do you want to hear a massive story that happened to me? I'm like shaking, dude. I'm so
Go on
over
then.
living here. I'm over it, mate. I'm dead set over living here in Australia because I reckon this has happened to me now 4 times, 5 times this year. I was coming home from a lunch with my mate. I was pretty pumped up. I went and had some lunch. We had some chicken schnitzel, and I went and got some beers. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get some beers and chill out, and then have one or
Yeah.
two, then fall asleep, and then do the podcast now. When I did that, when I got out of the car, I went to the bottle O or the bottle shop in America. Right? I ran in there, got my beers, came back. I opened the door, and when I opened the door, I looked down, and there's a massive huntsman, like sitting there on the bottom near my foot pedals. And I was like, well, first of all, I was like, holy smokes, that's been in the car the whole time I've been in the car, which is about 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like,
Oh
I'm just
my
like,
God.
I'm not a fan of these spiders. Like some people think, oh, you're Australian, you just deal with it. No, I hate them. I can't handle them. So I was like, okay. I went and yelled out. I parked because my car was parked. I yelled out, and luckily enough, this neighbor across the road was like, "What are you yelling at? What's going on? Are you okay?" I was like, "Man, I just saw the biggest huntsman of my life." Now I always say that no matter what kind of spider it is. He
Yeah.
came over. We were looking. We got the torch. We got the spray out. Couldn't find it. Right? We couldn't find it. It was like it was hidden. Right? A bit like Matt Canada's offense the whole year until now. Okay, it was hidden. And then when I looked over, it was sitting on my door, on my passenger door. We opened the door, and my mate David, who I just met, kicked the thing, killed it, and I was like, "Holy dooly!" But
Jeez, man.
straight away, I think there could be another one. I
God.
don't know if there is or not, but I just want to share that, guys. Like, is it doesn't like almost a daily, or it's pretty high occurrence. I get this stuff, but the worst part is, Owen, that was with me when I was driving for 45 minutes to an hour. And if like, why didn't it show up? It would have been worse if I was driving and oh
Yeah.
Lord, the big thing came over. But just wanted to share that before we get into the run the table stuff. And I don't know if you experienced that.
No, I mean, like I said, the most scariest thing we ever hear is a wasp, and it doesn't really kill you unless you are allergic to them. But yeah, I think what we got. Yeah, you had the film Snakes on a Plane. We've got spiders in a car.
It's happened to me, honestly, God. I think it's happened to me about I think over 5 times. There's been a few other times I've been driving. I've been at my mate's house and I've got in the car and it's been sitting there in front of you like I can't handle it because you're almost like you're defenseless. You know what I mean? You're a bit like Kazi's mate, defenseless, apparently. Look how many different analogies I can make. That was apparently a defensive hit. I don't think it was, right?
Do you know what, mate? I'm amazed that any of you lot live to 30 in Australia. I'm surprised you live past 30 with all those spiders, sharks, crocodiles, snakes, dingoes. I mean, even platypuses can kill you.
They can too. They have poisonous barbs in their tail.
I mean, like I said, I'm surprised you're still alive, Mark. I really am. I think you've done very well.
The thing is, this thing isn't really dangerous. Like, it bites you. It's not, this type of spider is not too dangerous. But the fact of the idea is, if it jumps on your lap while you're driving, that's dangerous. Yeah. Like one of my biggest fears is having a bird drive right into my window on a nice sunny day and staying in the car, not getting out. Like that, I've actually thought about that. Like, what would happen if a bird flew in, like a big crow, and didn't know how to get out while in the car? Like, yeah. Anyways, I just thought. Speaking of crows as well, we're going to talk about the Ravens today too. So stick around, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that little story. I just had to get that off my chest because I was like, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of these dang spiders.
You know what, Mark? Though, I think whilst we're on the theme of animals for a minute, I just want to give big props out to the pigeons. We are 2-0 when the pigeons are there. So pigeons, the Pittsburgh Steelers pigeons, you are the real heroes of yesterday's game. We are 2-0 when the pigeons are there. Keep those pigeons coming, boys.
Did you see that meme with its little hat on? Its little hat and it's like gold medals or whatever? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so cool. I think that the Steelers social media team is so much better than it used to be back in the day. Yeah. Like, it knows what's going on. All right, so we're gonna break down I guess the games, but before we do, are you a fan of yesterday? Are you a fan of the big win? I thought it was a fantastic game. I really do. There are things to improve on for sure, but it's something the Steeler fan base I think needed, and some people who still want us to tank or think that we suck, do not agree with. I'm like, how can you not be happy? Like, you're never happy in this result. But the game to me was a pretty good full game for what we saw. They shut down the other side for 0 points in the second half. If you're not happy with that, I don't know what else you can be happy with, honestly.
I agree. I think, look, was it perfect? No, of course it wasn't perfect, but we won the game. And that's the big thing to hold on to. It's a page-turning moment. We've been used to losing. Now we've won a game. Let's build on this. Let's use this to go again. And there was encouraging moments yesterday. The running game, 217 yards on the ground. The secondary played very well without Minkah Fitzpatrick. DeMonte KZ, I thought, was excellent. The defense shut the Saints out in the second half. There was lots and lots of positives from that game yesterday, and let's deal with let's say that. And one thing that really irritates me, and I know we touched on this, Mark, before we came online today. There's people saying, if this had happened, if that had happened, if this had happened, then the Steelers would have lost. Guys, let's deal with what we saw. Let's deal with reality. Yeah. So if the Steelers had Minkah Fitzpatrick and Chris Boswell, we would have won by more points. If the Saints had their Marshawn Lattimore, they might have been better in the secondary. If Sean Payton had been the head coach, it's rubbish. If Bill Cowher had been the head coach of the Steelers, we might have won. It's if. Stop making up these ifs that make absolutely zero sense. Deal with what is the reality. The reality was that two teams met yesterday. The players that were there played against each other, and we won the game. So deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, we live in a world of speculation all the time, and even doing this run the table idea, it's a lot of speculation. Like, will it happen, right? And then we go and watch the game, and we watch the game and say, well, it did happen. Then we can't deal with the reality of what happened. The reality was it was 2010. Kenny Pickett played pretty bad at the start. He got better throughout the game. His passing got better. Short passing game got better. Of course, his long passing wasn't the greatest, but he did find DJ down the end zone, near the end zone, caught the ball. DJ was almost so close to running that touchdown in as well. If he didn't get tripped up, right? Najee Harris and Jalen Warren put on their big boy pants and said, you know what, we're taking over. And they did. They took over. Now, some will say it's garbage time, but the whole idea of this whole garbage time doesn't really make too much sense when they're losing 20-10. There is no garbage time. There is them trying to make a stop and get back to football to have a chance to even get 7 points or maybe a chance to go and tie the game. So this reality of if wishes were fishes, the whole world would be an ocean. That's a JR reference from WWE, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I thought we played a really good game, right? A really good game to as best as they could. And of course, it can get better. The O-line can get better. Kenny can get better. But what we saw, the red zone offense can get better. Of course, all these things get better. The receivers can get better too. But what we saw finally was something that these guys played a bit of heart, right? Najee Harris and Jalen Warren played a bit of heart. Were you happy with them turning up in the last 5 minutes or whatever?
Oh yeah, 100%. I thought, I think you're right about garbage time. This garbage time to me only exists when one team is blowing out another team. That's when garbage time exists. If you're 42-10 down or 37-10 down or something like that, then yeah, that's garbage time. Like when we lost to the Bengals last year at Paul Brown Stadium, that was garbage time touchdown. It's not a garbage time touchdown or a garbage time play when the game is so close going into the end of the game. There's no such thing as garbage time. So let's get that straight off the table. I think you're absolutely spot on with that analogy, definitely.
Well, I've heard it a few times and I've used it a few times myself, right? But I feel like in this game, garbage time, it wasn't really a factor. But I feel like we say these things, we just throw them out there because the media picks it up and says that kind of stuff, and we just kind of roll with it. And of course, we are, I guess, part of the media too. We're on Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. So if you like our content, hit that sub, hit that like. Good segue. Well, let's start running the table, right?
Yeah.
I want to bring this up, and here we go. We have the next few games. We have 8 games left.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did this, I thought I'm on a bit of a high, bit of a, we've got to win. And yes, we're 3-6, and I get that, right? But we're going to talk the possibilities of playoffs. We're going to talk the possibilities of winning the division, right? And we're going to go through the list.
Yeah.
So let's start straight away. And this is jumping the gun way too far, but let's do it anyway. Cincinnati Bengals next week. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on winning this game? And we'll give our we'll go 1-0 and then give our thoughts. What do you reckon?
It's a winnable game. The Bengals are not unbeatable. They're not running away with the division. They're 5-4, I think it is, at this season. They're beatable. Jamar Chase is not there. They haven't got Chase. The key thing, I think, again, is do what we did against them in week 1. Take Joe Mixon away as a threat. Get after Joe Burrow, which is now possible with TJ Watt back. Yes, Minka will not be playing. Okay. But it is a winnable game for me, and it's at home. And there's still that thought in the back of their head of the fact that they came to our place last year and they beat us, and we want revenge. So I think that there's going to be and we just won a game, so we're coming off the high of that. So I think that is a very winnable game.
I think as well. So I've got them actually winning this game 1-0. I believe the Steelers can go on a streak, and what I saw yesterday or today or whatever time it is now, right? What I saw today is the Steelers, sure, didn't play perfect, right? But they scored 20 points, and I believe they can get some more scores. It would have been 26 if we had Boswell. Of course, we have maybe some better play execution. Also, a lot of people are getting on Matt Canada for this game, and I was like, I gave Matt Canada a shout out. What are your thoughts on Matt Canada with this game? I thought individually for this game was one of the best games I've ever seen him call.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't great, but it was good enough, and it did the job. And like I think, I can't remember whether I think you touched on this off air. We used a vast range of players. We changed it up. We tried some different things, and we did what I think a lot of people have been calling for us to do, which is take the ball out of Kenny's hands, give the running game an opportunity to succeed, and that's what he did. He got back to basics, and I think that's what he needed to do. And was it a simple offense? Yes, it was a simple offense yesterday, but that was down to him realizing that's what he needed to do. So, look, I'm the first person to call out Matt Canada, and I'm not
second.
And I'm not for a minute saying, Steeler Nation, that we should keep him and that he's perfect
Neither.
and that he's amazing. What I am saying is, when someone does something good, you praise them for it. And yesterday he did a good job because we won the game and we did different things on offense. We converted 9 of 17 third downs, which is over 50%. We moved the ball. We held the ball for 38 minutes.
Right.
We went on long drives. We did what you need to do. So you give praise to that.
Exactly. I'm the same. I thought he called a good game, and sure, we want to see him call a game good the whole season. But you give praise where praise is due. I think he did what he needed to do. So you've got them going. You got them winning this game against the Bengals. Yeah. Everyone as well. Play at home too. Play at home. Put in the comments 1-0, or at the very end, tell me what your record is for the Steelers. Because mine's going to be positive. I tell you that because it's the way I'm seeing it right now. So you've got them going 1-0 against the Bengals.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So we both have them. It's a big chance we can win that game, right? Even though we're outsiders too. Because you know what, TJ Watt's back, mate, and we're going to be saying TJ Watt a lot in this podcast. Yeah, now the Steelers for us are both 4-6. Now the big game versus Indianapolis Colts. in Indy. They have a new coach though, which is kind of crazy. Everyone's getting on. Even our ex-coach Bill Cowher is getting on Jeff Saturday for not being a real coach, but they won the game versus the Raiders today. Right? Not saying they're the best team, but I think this could be a winnable game as well.
Yeah, I think it's a winnable game. I think, yeah, okay, they beat the Colts beat the Raiders yesterday, but to be honest with you, I think I could find 11 blokes off the street round here, and they could beat the Raiders this season. I think, and not even some very physically fit ones either. I think.
It's kind of true, isn't it? It's kind of true.
I mean, the Raiders suck, don't they? They really do suck. But no, I think the Colts is a winnable game. I think that their offensive line is not the strongest this season, which is going to be good for our defense. They've got an inexperienced quarterback in Sam Ehlinger, so that's if what gets after him, he's going to panic. Highsmith, Haywood, Ogunjobi.
Is that their quarterback, Sam Ehlinger?
Yeah, Sam Ehlinger. He's the guy
let's go.
Jonathan Taylor is not running the ball anywhere near as well as he did last season. The Colts come up, and the Colts are in that division, aren't they? The AFC South stinks, man. It absolutely stinks to high heaven. I mean, I honestly think that none of those teams should be allowed in the playoffs. They're that bad. But yeah, I think that's another winnable game, even though it's at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a winnable game because the Colts stink.
Big time, I agree. And it will be interesting to see. I'm not too sure who the Colts versus next week, but they might have a bye. I'm not too sure. But we'll be interested to see if that Jeff Saturday can, emulate his success. But I give him a big shout out because a lot of the media was saying he can't do it. He's going to be the worst coach ever, or he's not prepared, not qualified. He went out there and got a W, know, and it from the sidelines, he got his team ready and he got a W. So, but I think they can win that game as well. I've got them going 2-0 on this stretch and have them at 5-6. Now's the time.
Do you know who they've got next week?
Ravens?
Eagles.
Oh, boy. That would be fun to see.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to see. So I've got them going 2-0. You have them going 2-0 as well?
Correct.
All right, guys. And yeah, write down in the comments below what you think's going on so far. So I've got them at 5-6, right? And now's the time we probably should be doing this podcast in 2 weeks' time. But I thought, let's do it a bit earlier.
Yeah.
5-6 is a chance for the playoffs. And right now, we're 3 games back from the division. And it depends what happens with other teams. We're 3 games from the division and 3 games back from like the Bills and Chargers and those kind of teams, right? And we saw the Bills fall apart today. There's still a chance.
Yeah.
Still a chance. And the more wins we get and the more winnable games that happen, the next game at Atlanta Falcons, right? I'm not even sure who their quarterback is. Is it Marcus Mariota?
Marcus Mariota.
TJ Watt, if he's healthy by then, in a 1 p.m. game, if they play a very similar way against the Saints, of course they're on the road, running game, Kenny Pickett makes 0 mistakes, turn the ball over, could be a chance. Minka Fitzpatrick's back, right?
Yeah.
That to me is a winnable game. Do you agree or not agree?
Oh yeah, it's a winnable game. The Falcons are fighting. They're not terrible. They don't stink as bad as the Colts, but they're a beatable team. They've lost a lot of talent from that team. They've lost an awful lot of talent from that team. Obviously Ryan has gone, Ridley's gone. They've lost a lot of talent from that team, and I think that it's another winnable game. Yes, it's going to be tough because it's on the road, and that's going to be the true test of has this team improved enough? Can we win on the road at Lucas Oil and at Mercedes-Benz Stadium? That's going to be the biggest test. Can we win on the road? But again, it's a winnable game. And look, are we saying that this is a definite? No, we're just going with our opinion, and we're looking at the form, we're looking at the teams, we're comparing the 2 teams, and it is a winnable game. What can get after Mariota? There's nobody on the Atlanta team that particularly scares me in terms of offensive weapons. Cordarrelle Patterson's about their most effective player on offense. So their defense, I couldn't even name one of their defenders, their defensive players. So I think that, again, it's a winnable game. It is a winnable game.
So we have the Kazi revenge game as well.
Oh, yeah, Kazi revenge game.
How good was seeing Kazi getting a turnover today? And also, he's got quite a few turnovers with the Falcons and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He's up there in picks. And he's up there in forced fumbles. It's good to see him get a turnover. And we can't repeat what he said online, but there was a video online, him yelling out something. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. He said, I'm back something. Yeah. Guys, if you want to see, go on to Carter Critiques, Chris Carter's Twitter. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find the video. Yeah, and like Mark says, we can't show it or we can't repeat what he said because this is a family show.
I just dropped my pen. We'll keep this in. That pen
Okay.
flew all the way over the side. That pen flew further than Kenny Pickett's deep ball. It went over there. I'm only joking. Kenny Pickett played really well. Okay.
Davison for quarterback.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I've got them going 3-0.
Yeah.
Right? Call me crazy. Oh, the Steelers suck. No, I've got them going 3-0. They can do this, right?
Yeah.
And we're not saying they're going to win completely, but there's a chance they can go 3-0.
Yeah.
So now we both have them 6-6.
Yeah.
Right now, 6-6, and there's 5 games to go.
Yeah.
That to me says playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What was it to say to you? Playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I said to you before the start of our recording this pod. The AFC this year, take out the Chiefs, take out the Dolphins. None of the teams particularly are that impressive this year. The South stinks. The North, okay, the Ravens are probably the strongest team, as much as it pains me to say it in the North. The South, like I said, stinks. The AFC West behind the Chiefs is appalling. I mean, the Broncos, sorry, Gage, the Broncos suck. The Chargers are charging. They're choking, constantly choking. They lost to the Niners yesterday. The Raiders are worse than a Sunday league team. The AFC East is strong. Don't get me wrong. You know, the Jets are doing well this season. But the Bills are beatable. The Jets are beatable. I think the Dolphins are very, very good. I mean, if you take out the games that Tua didn't play, they're 7-0. They're 7-0 with Tua as starting quarterback. And I read an article this morning saying Mike McDaniel is the real deal. And I agree with that. Mike McDaniel is the real deal.
They could be 10-0 with Tua in there. Yeah. Now, let's move on to another team who I always find gets sneaky wins. The Ravens always get sneaky wins. They're sitting at 6-3.
Yeah.
Somehow they have won 3 in a row and are now above the AFC North. And a lot of Ravens fans are like, oh, let's go, Ravens, flock, whatever. But I don't know. I think this game, coming back to Acrisure Stadium or Heinz Field, I think there's a chance that we can win this game, right? However, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, look, I'm going to keep it a bit even, and I believe we'll lose this game. Mm-hmm. Just to keep it even. Okay, you can't win them all, but this, in my opinion, if we go on a run and we run the table, the Ravens coming at home, our defense is healthier if everything goes right. Offense is playing pretty similar today, but maybe better, and converting on those downs or red zones, we have a chance. What do you think about the Ravens game?
I think it's going to be an exceptionally tight and very, very close game. And I think it could, as daft, as stupid as this might sound, I think it could actually come down to whether Chris Boswell's back or not.
True.
Because I think I don't think Ravens Steelers games on the whole never end up as being one team blowing out the other team. They're always exceptionally tight, hard fought games. And as much as it pains me to say it, I can see the Ravens winning with a Justin Tucker field goal, because the Ravens this hurts, Mark. This is going to hurt, man. The Ravens are a good team this year. They are a good team. They're a solid team. Their defense is good. Their offense is not brilliant, but it's not terrible. I just think they'll have a little bit too much, and I think they will win a close one, something like 23-20. I just think it's going to be. I just think they're due one as well. We've won the last 3.
They are. We've won 4 in a row.
Yeah, and I just think with our offense, if it doesn't continue improving and progressing in the way that it can, and also the fact the Ravens are good at shutting down the run, I just think that this will be a close one. Look, Steeler Nation, I'm sorry, but I hate saying this and it hurts, but I do think we'll lose this game.
But you're exactly right, though. If their offense isn't scoring more than 20 points and not taking the opportunities where they can convert the red zone, or you get a TD larger than 8 yards, those kind of plays aren't happening. The Ravens will run away this game. We can't stop Lamar Jackson in the run. They need to hold the Ravens to about 13, 16 points, and they need to win this game 19-16. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So I've got them losing. You have them losing too?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we both have them losing. That is, for us, 3-1, 6-7. Here's the fun part. The last 4 games with 2 games that, in my opinion, are very, very winnable games. First of all, at Carolina, we don't even know who it's going to be. It could be Baker Mayfield, could be Sam Darnold. I'm not too sure if he's back from injury or whatever, but they're playing Peter Walker. So they don't know what they're doing. They're getting rid of all their players, right? The Panthers. I believe the Steelers can win this game. If they're serious for a playoff contention, they will win this game for me.
Oh yeah, I think this is an eminently winnable game. Carolina are a mess. They are an absolute mess. I mean, they've traded away Christian McCaffrey. They've traded away Robbie Anderson. They've got 3 quarterbacks who are very, very average. They've got Darnold who sees ghosts. Baker Mayfield who thinks he's Patrick Mahomes, but he's really I don't know who he is. But he's just not very good. And PJ Walker who is, I don't know, like a B-Tech Lamar Jackson.
Let's say that, right? They're starting PJ Walker, who played, I think it was for the XFL or USFL last year.
Yeah.
Nothing against the guy, but you've got 2 first-round, possibly bust in Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. They're not playing. So that to me screams to me, alert, 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 something's going on. They're in bad shape. And by this time, they could be, I'm not even sure, they're like, what are they, 3? Let me check. So the Panthers right now are 3-7.
Yeah.
So they could very well they could have like 10 losses or like 11 losses, 3-11 by that time. They got a win the other day over the Falcons, but like you said, this division there could be a chance we can beat the whole South. The Buccaneers, we beat them, we beat Saints, and we can beat these 2 teams.
There must be something about the South because the AFC South sucks and the NFC South sucks as well. It really does. I mean, both the South divisions suck this year. I mean, I don't think out of all the 8 teams in the AFC and the NFC South, you could make a decent team. I have to be honest with you, they are that bad.
If we go and beat them, right? A few weeks time, in a month's time, when on this run, Steelers go and beat them when we've taken care of the AFC South. Now, it depends what the other teams like the Ravens and the Browns and the Bengals do against them too. But at the same time, if they lose a few games, then we're in a chance for, I think more or less we're in a chance for the wild card right now, not the division, but the wild card. So I've got them winning. You have them winning too?
Yes.
All right. So we're 4-1. Here's where it gets real fun. The Raiders at home. Now, the start of the year, hard game.
Yeah.
Look at the roster. Darren Waller. Who's the bloke, the quarterback? Derek Carr, right?
Devontae Adams.
Is Josh Jacobs still there? He's still there, right?
Yeah, Josh Jacobs still there. All
those dudes, right? We're going to get smacked. No, they're playing awful. There is one of the worst teams in the NFL. People think we're bad. They're playing really bad football. And to me, the emotion will get over the Steelers and the Franco Harris stuff. I think they'll play one of their best games all year. I really do. I think they'll play one of their best games, and I've got them winning that game. Do you have them winning that game?
Yeah, I mean, as well, the atmosphere is going to be going off as well. It's Christmas Eve, the Franco Harris retirement of the jersey. And yeah, like you said, the Raiders absolutely stink. Guys, I know people say, the Raiders have got a bit of a sort of a whip hand over us at the moment, a bit of a bogey team. I don't know if you know what the bogey team is in America. It's the kind of team, no matter what you do, you always lose. But the Raiders, they are, guys, go. If I know you don't want to be watching another team, but go and watch some of the highlights of the Raiders this year. They stink to high heaven. I mean, they are one of the worst. They are one of, if not the worst team in the NFL. I suppose the only factor that could perhaps make this game a bit more tricky is if they sack Josh McDaniels before this game. I mean, a lot of people are predicting that Josh McDaniels will be back in New England before the end of the season. So, yeah, I think it's a winnable game. I think we win because I think the Harris thing, and I think the fact that the Raiders are such a bad team.
I agree, and right now things can change, of course, with the McDaniels sacking or whatever. But I agree. So we have them on this stretch 5-1, and yes, we're totally optimistic. Do you know why? Because we're Steelers fans. It's okay.
And we're going to get shot down. We're going to get shot down for this. I know that, but
it's okay to be optimistic and be positive about your team. Yeah. It really is okay, guys. And I know we speak to some people, but a lot of us are like, we want to lose. No, you don't. We want to win. That's what we want to do. The next 2 games. 2 big games to end the season. Yeah. Playing for maybe the division and playing for maybe a wild card. At Baltimore, what do you think happens here?
I think we lose at Baltimore. I just think they've got too much. I think it's, but look, like I said, I know this hurts and it does really hurt me. I think the AFC North is Baltimore's division to lose this year. I really do. I think they are the best team in the division. I think they win. I can't see us winning on the road. I don't think we'll put up enough points. I just think it'll be a step too far for the Steelers and they'll lose to the Ravens.
See, I'm gonna disagree with you here, but it's just for the point that I want to see them maybe split. I think they can split this game because I think if TJ was healthy, he normally gets a game after Lamar Jackson. So I could kind of
Yeah.
see that. Now, this to me is going to be purely emotion-based because I feel like if they're around 8-7 before this game, there's a real chance for the playoffs. Real chance to get 10 games and have a wild card, depending because all the other other AFC teams in the conference, they're all playing the same thing. They were only 3 games back. I get a feeling we win this game.
Yeah,
I get a feeling we win this game, or we have a chance to. I'm going to have them at 9-7, and you're going to have them at, I believe, 8-8.
Yeah.
Right. What happens in the last game, and this could be very well be at Heinz Field for possibly the division, or could be for a wild card berth. What happens?
I'm gonna have to be so careful here. So careful. We have to win this game. We have to win this game for 3 reasons. 1, to have a chance of getting into the wild card spot. That's the first reason. The second reason we have to win is because we cannot be swept by the Cleveland Browns. It's just we'd never hear the end of it because, as we know, we live in Cleveland's head rent free. And the third reason is I want to see our defense absolutely pulverize, smash, obliterate that quarterback that the Browns will have in that last game. And that's what I'm going to say. I've got to be so careful. You know my feelings about that quarterback.
Oh,
Mark.
yeah.
And I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I really hope TJ Watt absolutely smashes him into the ground.
Well, he comes back soon. I think he comes back, I believe, next week or the week after.
Against the Texans, I think it is.
I think it's like week 10 and week 11.
NFL's not fixed.
Yeah, that's another podcast. That's the biggest matchup. He comes back versus the Texans. Now, the thing is too, though, I don't know. Like, I actually like what Jacoby Brissett was doing, but however, the Miami Dolphins today blew them out of the water.
Yeah,
right. They blew them out of the water. So, if it comes down to, I don't think the Browns are going to playoff run. I think they're kind of done this year. I think they're more of in tank mode than we are. They have like no picks. They have to get something back next year. I don't know what they're going to do, but it doesn't really bother us anyway. But I got a feeling if the Steelers are around the playoff mark, and if they're around, for you they're 8-8, and for me they're 9-7. All right, you can get in the playoffs with 9-8. You can get the playoffs with a 10-7. I believe they win. So you got them winning this game.
Yeah, I think of course. I mean, I hate the Browns. I hate their quarterback. They want to come back. They win. They've got to win. And TJ Watt hammers that man into the ground.
I think as well, right? When you think about it, so I've got them going 10-7, and I think you've got them going 9-8, which is a bit more realistic. I think if they drop 2 games, there's a realistic chance that the season we've had so far, if they go 9-8, then that's a win. You know, it's going to be great for the content because Mike Tom will never lose in season, and he still never have one. But do you think 9-8 is a good enough number to get into the playoffs this year? Wild card number 7.
Yes, the 7th place. I think it is enough to get in there. I mean, if you look at the rest of the divisions, you look at the South. I don't think there'll be any wild card team comes out of the South. I think the Titans are going to win the South because they always do, but they win it by default because the Colts, the Jags, and who's the other team in that division? I can't remember now. Suck big
Texans.
time. Texans. Oh god, yeah.
1-7 Texans. Jaguars 3-7. Colts 4-5.
Yeah, and 1. Yeah. The West. The only team that could possibly get a playoff place in the West is the Chargers.
Yep, I agree.
They're struggling this season. They lose big games. I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like. The AFC North, I think it could come down to between us and the Bengals as to who gets that second place in the division, and 9-8 could well be good enough. I don't think the Bengals are the team everyone says they are. The East, I think 3 teams will get in the playoffs from the East. I really do. I think, and bold prediction here, the Dolphins will win the AFC East, and I think the Bills and the Jets will get playoff places.
I think you could be right there. So the Dolphins win the East. You have Jets on 6-3. Buffalo Bills 6-3. Therefore, there's one spot left. Could come down to Cincinnati Bengals versus the Steelers. If we go on this run, right? We go on this big run. We're 2 games back behind these guys. Of course, we need some of those guys to lose. But I think you're right. I think the AFC South and the AFC West, there are only two teams for the playoffs this year. Is going to be, unless the Colts pull their finger out, it's going to be the Titans, who are 6-3, and the KC Chiefs 6-3. I don't think the Chargers will do anything either. they're 5-4, right? I think they will start to fail. So to me, there's an open spot there for 7th, and it depends what this run's going to be, right? But in the comments below, guys, if you've made it this far in this, I believe we're doing premiere. Well, it sounds like a movie premiere, doesn't it? You know, can the Steelers run the table? You know what I mean? I've got them 10-7. So let me know in the comments below in the live chat. I think it'll be a live chat. You've got them 9-8. Is there any other final thoughts, Owen, you want to have for this segment or for what happened in last, or yesterday's game?
Mark, I think one thing that perhaps explains some of the reaction of Steeler Nation yesterday in terms of this, I think people are genuinely disappointed we didn't lose because I think there's a certain group within the fan base that had got so fallen in love with this tanking idea and getting a top 5 draft pick. And I think they need, look, and I'm going to upset some people here. If you are a true fan of a team, you cannot root for them to lose. What sort of a fan goes to watch a game or sits and watches a game with their favorite team and prays they're going to lose? I'm sorry, that's just not what you do. You just don't do it. And I think there's some fans who need to realize that, forget tanking, guys. It's not going to make any difference. It's not going to make any difference. And if you look back across the last, 10 drafts, how many of the first 5 picks have gone on to be NFL superstars?
Well, it's not even that. It's the whole idea of tanking doesn't overly work, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't.
You look at the fact that the Bengals now, they tanked to a certain degree and got the big pick and they went to the championship game. They still lost it, right?
Yeah.
You look at the Jaguars franchise right now in shambles, and they've been really bad. Look at the Lions franchise, the Browns, the Commanders, the Falcons are tanking by default because they can't get over that Super Bowl loss. They just can't. They can't get out of their own way. So many teams are like that. Honest to goodness, I think the Washington Commanders might be one of the teams that have never had a chance ever in a long time. Tanking doesn't really work. To go out and getting 1 pick or 2 or a higher draft pick, and then of course getting the second higher and third. I don't think you build it. You don't really build wins that way. Maybe you can build a roster. Maybe you can build a roster and get better picks. But I believe you don't build wins that way. And I think today's win or yesterday's win was good to see because it was like finally the fellas woke up. They had a chance and actually, you know what? I'm going to go out there and fight for my team. And watching Jalen Warren run and Najee Warren run with passion and conviction was fun to see. And I believe if you want them to tank, there's a certain point where you're like, Steelers fans, you are at the end of the day, you support the team, and that's what we do. And now the roles can be reversed. I'm not saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be supporting me in my journey on doing Uber Eats or doing this channel, right? It might not go. It might not go either way. Okay, it might not. But we buy the jerseys, we go to the games, we watch. We have Steelers communities, and we support the team. We come together as one. That's what you do. And I think we're facing a little bit of adversity in this season, and the adversity we're facing is they're a bad team. Let's be honest, they're a bad team. But they got it better. They got they played a really good game yesterday, and you got to move forward, and you got to hope that they can beat the Bengals and move to 4-6. And there's always a chance. But that's the way I kind of spin my stuff. I know it's the way that you spin your stuff too and your takes. We try and be as realistic too, and we called out Matt Canada, right? I called out Matt Canada, but he played well yesterday, so you give him the props he needs to do. But you're right. I think you just go and support them. Because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time watching. We got 8 games left, and I'm not going to be here on every single podcast or wherever I work, saying, "Oh, we're the worst team in the world. I can't wait for the draft in April." That's 5 months away.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm going to convince myself and get angry at myself watching the TV and wondering why DJ ran backwards. And calling him out for running backwards. It was one of the worst plays of my life, But then you give them praise for Pickett going through his motions and winning a full game and getting his first real, win, because he won the whole thing. And he got injured. Najee Harris got injured. These fellas are going through something, and we have to support them in that time. Yeah. So that's my rant. But I agree with you 100%. And this is why I said, can the Steelers run the table? Put in the comments below, yes or no. And, tell me the record. And we'll have a look. We'll go back and forth. But I believe they can go at least 9-8.
Yeah.
If they lose 3 games, it's kind of over. If they lose next week, it's going to feel like it's over because also it's AFC North as well. All right, Owen. Anything else, mate? You want to cover? Or we good to go, mate?
That's all, man. All good. All good, man.
Are you ready for breakfast or what?
Don't know, 10:20. I'm meant to be going out at some point today, meeting a friend for coffee, but that's about it today. Picking the kids up from school. Another exciting day here in Blighty.
That's all right. Go and wear your Steelers gear and rep the Steeler Nation. Someone might call out to you.
I've got, I don't know, underneath. There you go, guys.
Oh, what? He's not a true fan. He's not wearing it on TV. It's underneath the jumper.
I'm cold.
All right, guys. Thank you for checking out Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate and this episode of Can the Steelers Run the Table? I believe they can, and Owen believes they can as well. And you know why we believe they can? Because we believe in our team and we want some positive things to happen. And we're versing the Bengals next week, man. The Bengals are a bad team. They have no Jamar Chase. They're Gonskis. They'll see you later. All right, Owen, mate. I'll catch you later, mate. And I'll talk to you all later. See you guys. Thank you. As always, here we go, Steelers. Here we